Hey, this is Matt, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to get started on the final project. So I've made the mistake of updating GarageBand. It looks a little bit different than the one we have in the lab. It might look different than the one you have at home, but in terms of function for this project, it's basically the same. So what you're going to do is start with a blank document, and then all you have to do, if you are using GarageBand, and this can be done using Audacity and Movie Maker on a PC as well, but you take the video that you've trimmed down and you simply drag it into the arrange window like that, and you'll see that now, just like your slideshow, there is a movie track here, and if you double click on this, or actually just single click, it will open up a large picture to look at, and then the audio track is down below here. And then what you have to do eventually is you're going to mute the original track, and you're going to replace all of the dialogue, all of the foley, all of the sound effects, and all of the music. So my advice is to get started with the dialogue first, and by all means go to the Media Center and get one of the Zoom lecture recorders. It's a stereo mic that sounds fantastic. That's probably your best bet, because the laptop mics really don't cut it for the voiceover. It really shows. And then you really, before you actually start recording, make sure that you transcribe the audio. So it helps to write down what your characters say so you can read it, because you're going to be listening back to it, and having the script in front of you makes things go quicker. Your scene is only 2.5–3 minutes long. It shouldn't take too long to transcribe all the lines, and if you have friends doing this, this is really going to expedite things. So you can just say, hey, read this line. They can record it without bothering too much with syncing to the lips on the screen, because you can always get into Audacity and move words around and make sure that things sync later. Or a lot of that can actually be done in GarageBand now too. So what you're going to do is, so I've muted the audio here. I'm going to get rid of this other track. And I'm going to throw a little music in here just so you can see what's going to happen. And then, let's see, maybe some rain. I think that's a thunderstorm. Yeah. I'm looking for some sort of background noise. Let's see, I'm going to go back into loops, and I'm going to search the iLife sound effects. Forest evening, how about that? Now let's listen to these two together. Okay, so we'll turn these way back in the mix. Just something to sort of flesh it out and draw the listener into the environment. And now I'm going to go in and listen to the original audio.
You fought in the Clone Wars?
And this actually, it sounds like they recorded the audio off of a laptop or something. It's kind of a cheapo dub. So it's kind of cool that I'm going to try to replace this. So here are his lines.
You fought in the Clone Wars?
You fought in the Clone Wars?
You fought in the Clone Wars?
Let's just give that a try. So I'm going to mute this. You fought in the Clone Wars? Oops. I need to create a new track to record that onto. So I'm going to pick audio and put 1. Okay, so now I have a single track to put Luke's audio onto, and while I'm at it, I might as well create a track for Obi-Wan. So here's one mistake that I've seen people make, is they have all of their dialogue spread over multiple tracks, where each line has its own track. Have one character occupy one track. That'll help you organize your ideas. So What did Luke say again there?
You fought in the Clone Wars?
You fought in the Clone Wars? Okay, I'll mute that. Sorry. You fought in the Clone Wars? There's my little line, and I'll put this right up here. You fought in the Clone Wars? Okay. Kind of cheesy, but let's see what happens. Throw some backgrounds in here and open this up. You fought in the Clone Wars? So you can see you're really off to the races there. I'll show you. Let's see. Let's do a little Obi-Wan just for kicks. Let's hear his line.
I was once a Jedi Knight, the same as your father.
I was once a Jedi Knight, the same as your father. So there's a line. I'm just gonna go for it. I was once a Jedi Knight, the same as your father. Okay, and we're gonna go ahead and listen to these guys together. You can always put effects on these too. There's some vocal transformers and stuff too that can do some cool stuff. But let's give that a listen. You fought in the Clone Wars? I was once a Jedi Knight, the same as your father. Oh, geez. Then we need some beard scratching here. So here's where the foley and the, whoops, bump the mic. All the these background sounds of movement sort of make things more realistic. But let's try that again. A little beard scratching. Oops. So undo is you're gonna be your friend here. I've got to mute all this other stuff. And let's go back here. Okay, so now you've just got some background sounds. Let's go ahead and hear that. I was once a Jedi Knight, the same as your father. Okay, so that is basically the whole concept. Have fun. You can really get lost in all of the Foley and sound effects. For this week, what I really want you to do is pick one of the three things. So either do the dialogue, and this is called ADR, which stands for Automated Dialogue Replacement or Assisted Dialogue Replacement. And they do this in a lot of films as a backup. There's no... I was looking on forums, maybe up to 70% of the lines in action flicks can actually be replaced in this way. They try to use the original voiceover if possible, but a lot of times there's wind and stuff in the background. But you'll find that it's kind of a pain in the neck to get the lips to sync up to the audio. That's where the magic happens. But it's all good fun. Let's see. So yes, either do the dialogue, do the sound effects, do the Foley, or the music. But the music is going to be pretty darn easy. I mean, pick a track and drop it in there. It doesn't have to be copywritten. You don't have to pay the copyright on it for this project. It's a student project. But if you're going to use like any orchestral track or any music that you have in your collection, if you actually want to pay for it, it could be tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars to actually get the rights for it. It's kind of a no-go. So you know, out in the real world, you're going to have to use license-free music, and there were some resources earlier in the class, some links to some websites that have some, or royalty-free music. And then there's also the loop library. You know how to put your own music together. But save that for last. That's sort of the finishing touches. The dialogue is the one that always hangs people up. So go to the Media Center, get a Zoom mic. I have the resources listed in the D2L shell for how to use it, and transcribe your audio. So try to do that, or do the Foley and sound effects for this weekend. That would be my advice. And don't forget, we have a mandatory class on Saturday, so see everybody there at 10. Okay, and if you are going to use a PC, I would recommend getting started in Audacity. And you're going to have to fly blind a little bit. Actually, this can be a good thing. I just did a project recently where I redid the voiceover for a tutorial, for someone else's tutorial, and I scripted the whole thing, and I didn't even watch the video. All I did is I dropped the audio into Audacity and went through line by line and aligned everything, and it worked like magic. And I didn't get lost in the movie scene, so I was really able to focus on the audio. And so all you have to do is drag your video into Audacity. Now Audacity won't show the video float, but you'll see the original audio track here. And I have this set up to go out the speakers. Let's do this.
Reminds me.
So you can go in and
Which reminds me.
and create the lines line by line here. So do it like I showed you before with the script, and then
Which reminds me.
and what you can do is just say, which reminds me. And there's your little line. You can clean it up, so you can replace this other one. I wouldn't recommend getting rid of the original track here, but I'll just show you how it would sound. So play it along. Which reminds me.
And he was a good friend.
Which reminds me. And there's a pretty bad pop there. You know how to clean that stuff up. But yeah, you could do a multi-track recording in Audacity. So do all the voiceover, add all the Foley in, and you're going to get a whole bunch of tracks, but you can change the size of them by dragging on the margins of the tracks. And this is what you're going to have to do if you're using a PC. Or you can come into the lab, or one of the labs, the Media Center, A303 or ATC 110, and use one of the Macs. But if you do use a PC, do it in Audacity, and then you can just drop the export of the mix into the music track of your movie in Movie Maker. So delete the original and then just drop your Audacity track on top of it, and it will work like magic as long as your voiceover syncs to the original. Okay, we will see you soon.